Hello React Native devs, welcome back to our React Native course series. In this video, we will delve into the core components of React Native and learn how to work with them effectively to build powerful mobile applications. So in the last video, the users who have not followed along, they can just watch the previous videos in which we set up the development environment and talked about React Native. The link is popping on the right corner of your screen. So this is the point where we were left after creating the app. So this is the main app.js file, the starting point of the application. In this file, we can see that we have a React functional component defined app, and at the top we have some import statements, and in the bottom we have this style sheet object, and we will talk about this style sheet object later on when we talk about the styling of the objects. So here you can see that we have some components from the React Native imported into our project, the view, text and style sheet. So unlike the traditional HTML project in which we have div, or we have input type equal to text, so these components, this div component, the input components, these are for the HTML, but here we are talking about React Native. In mobile app development, these components will not work. So React Native comes with some predefined components, this view, this text, this style sheet, and there are much more components, and by using these components we will be able to create complex components of our own. So when we go to the React Native dev website, here are the components. When we go to the components, there are a lot of components that come with the React Native pre-built. We have this button, flat list, image background. Among these components, there are some core components which will be used throughout the application, and they are the main important components that will cover almost the whole design or UI of the app that you will be designing. The main components that we will be using are ScrollView, text, TextInput, view and flat list, and of course the image. So we will cover them one by one. Firstly, when we talk about the view, it is just like the div component in the HTML. It is used for creating the structure of the app, or the structure or the blocks in the app, and all of the code that we have to write will be enclosed in this view. And in the React Native, we cannot write the text directly like this. For this, to write the text, if you write text directly, you can see that we will be presented with an error. The string must be rendered within a text component. So in React Native, we can't just directly use the text. So for that, we have to use this text component and write the text inside of this text component. To create a button for some pressable actions, we will use this button component. So these button components have some inbuilt props like title, for example, click me, and it has on press to trigger some action when we press this button. For example, for now we will alert on press of this. So you can see that this button has been introduced into our design, and when you click on this button, we will get an alert window. Another main thing that we will use is the text input, or the input type text, to just capture the user inputs, as we have input type of text in the HTML to create the forms. For in React Native, we have this text input. To create this text input, it comes with some props that we have to pass to it. These props are just the options that we pass. So for the text input, it comes with some props like placeholder, enter name. So you can see that if we click on this enter username, we will be presented with a keyboard to capture the input of the user. Another important component that we will use in our mobile apps mostly is the scroll view. Since the height of the device is limited, so we will need the scroll view very oftenly, because it's not like HTML that it will scroll by its own when the new content is entered. It's not like that in the React Native. For React Native, we'll have to enclose all these components in a scroll view. We can just enclose all of this inside of a scroll view. And so we have enclosed our whole structure inside of a scroll view. Whenever the content inside of a scroll view increase, we will be presented with a scroll window right here. So another important core component is the image. For example, if we want some image to be displayed in our view, we can also have that. For that, we have the image component, and inside of an image, the main prop is the source, and inside of a source we have to pass the URI of the image, or the URL of the image. For example, we will grab this image, we will copy the URL, we'll copy its URL, and when we go to the code, we have to place it here. And for the image thing, we will have to define its width, otherwise it will not get displayed into our device. You can see that even after saving this, the image is not getting displayed. So for that, we will have to define its width. For that, we will define the style object, and we will define its width and height. We'll set the width to 80 and height to 80. So you can see that the image is being displayed now in our mobile app. So now we will combine all these things to create some effective design, so that you will get a better grasp of these core components. So we will create some login screen by combining these components. So for that, firstly we will write text login. So after login, we will need a view to hold our input fields. Inside of the view, we will write the text input, because we have to display input field to capture the username and passwords. So we will define those, enter username, and another text input to get the password. Enter password. So these two things are done. We will remove these from design, and after that we will require this button to behave as a submit button. We will place it right below it, and we will write the title as login. So for the image, to make it look nicer, what we will do is we will use a side by side of the text. So for that we will enclose this text inside of a text and image. Don't worry if you are just getting a bit confused, don't worry, we will cover all these things in the next tutorials, and you will also be able to make appealing view by using these things. So for view we will set it as flex direction of row, and we will give it align items of center. I think this image also needs to be a bit smaller to make it look good, like this, and we will give it a margin right of 10. So you can see that we have implemented all these core components to make this design, this appealing design. If you talk about the beginner level, this is much appealing design that you guys can make after the use of these core components. So by use of these core components, we can combine these core components to make much complex components. Almost in all the designs, these are the main components that we will use to create the final output of the screen. So in this video, we have explored the core components of React Native and learned how to work with them effectively to build mobile apps. Throughout this course, we will be making these smaller applications to just strengthen our knowledge and to have hold on practically implementing the things. Understanding these essential building blocks is crucial for mastering React Native development and creating captivating user interfaces. Feel free to customize this script to fit your style and audience. In the next video, we will dive deeper into styling the React Native components. Till then, bye bye, happy coding.